What's going on, guys? Casval here, and today we're going to be talking about trait points and builds for the Rune Keeper. Okay, so this question was asked by Ion Power. Is it possible to make a new update trait video, please? And of course, he went on to say I was awesome, which I am very flattered about. Thank you very much. I don't really think I'm that awesome, but I try to do the best I can, right? So, before we get into this video, there's multiple builds that Runekeepers can do, okay? You have lightning, you have fire, you have standard PvE, you have T2 PvE, and you have, of course, PvP. This will not, unfortunately, cover PvP, although I could add a little bit of my knowledge to PvP that would help you if you're there. So really, honestly, before we get into it, before you go into traits, before you go into builds or anything like that, what's the most important thing that you need to pay attention to, okay, is server stat caps, okay? That's what you need to pay attention to. Now, when I show you my current stats, you're going to see that most of them are over, some are under, or most are just actually over. But that's because I've been leveling up my LIs, and that has pushed that over, okay? But, and I'm going to put these on the side, either left or right. I can't make up my mind which one yet, but they will be put up on the side of what stats, first of all, that you're looking for really for any class that is a light armor. Of course, there are other stats. And actually, I may actually end up putting the, if you look in the bottom of this section, I'm going to put the wiki links to all the stat caps for the game so that you know exactly for your class what your stat caps are, because this helps you make your build, okay? If you end up having a 105 with all T2 gear, 105 gear, and you've got all your essences in there, then this will help you do it. I'm also going to put in a link in there of an essence link where you can actually test out your builds, okay? It's a very helpful tool where you can actually plug in all the gear that you would do, the essences that you would use, and it would kind of give you an outcome of what your stats would be, okay? It is very detailed, but it is very helpful to let you know that. So those are two links that I'm going to put into the description box that I normally do not put. Alright, so with all that said and done, now that you guys all know that, let's get into it. First of all, I use fire right now. When I was very first playing, you guys must probably always knew that I used lightning. I love lightning. I really hope one day they bring lightning back a little bit better than what it is today, but it's not. It's not. Fire is the king of all kings, and so we as MMO players must bow down to the dev gods and say we are going to play fire. That's just the way it is. One day, if they ever give an increased buff to lightning and survivability to lightning, I am going to play that as soon as possible, but that is not the case for right now. Alright, so with that said and done, we are going to go in here, and I'm going to undo my traits panel so you guys can see exactly what I did. Now, this is going to involve many different things. One, are you doing solo? Or are you doing group? Or are you planning to do T2 stuff? Okay? I.e., are you going to be going into a group that's going to be doing, and you want to give that little extra heal, that little extra little help where others may fail, like to give the healer a little bit of extra when he needs it, right? So let's go into that. Right off the bat, we're going to choose fire. I did choose fire. Yes, I did. Um, tactical damage is really good to get the additional 5% if you have the points. You will see currently that I only have 72 points. Yes, that's right. I only have 72 points. Why? Because I have spent a great deal of time on other characters and doing Let's Plays, and I haven't really focused that heavily on Kaz. I'm trying to recorrect all that. Um, my kin leaders and kin friends and my friends that I play with refer to me as Kaz 2.0 because this time around when I've come into the game, I'm more focused on in-game type stuff where I want to be the best I possibly can and hopefully build a kin that will be able to do raids. That's what I want to do. I want to have the best gear, the best setup, and the best kin out there. That's what I want to do this time around. Okay, so with all that said and done, let's work on the build. And actually, let's do the traits first, okay? Now, the traits are pretty generic. I've pretty much focused on only a little bit to help me get where I need to get. Now, of course, everyone is going to disagree with this. Whatever build you choose to do is going to be based upon meeting these server stat goals. Okay, it doesn't matter what you do. If you choose whatever trait you choose, it doesn't matter. Your ultimate goal should be to, in the future, as soon as I post them, to meet these server stats. Okay, if you're going to be doing PvE, your main goal is server stats. That is meeting the server stat caps of defense, and then putting, after you've reached the defense, for even T2, you need to do it for offense. You need to put everything else into offense, especially if you're going to be a Runekeeper Fire. My current setup that I have is Wisdom with Will and Combat Power Regen, which I really honestly could not care about because I have self-motivation and resistance. Fate, resistance, will for idealism, confidence, resistance rating, real, combat power gen, charity, resistance, physical, non-combat power gen, and honor, resistance, tactical, and vitality. Okay, now we're going to go into trait points. Now, like I was saying before, if you have the points, put it into tactical damage. Okay, the reason why I say that is that when it comes to a Runekeeper and you're running raids or you're running T2 instances or you're running solo, stuff like that, damage, you want defense over damage because you're already going to do a crap load of damage, okay? But what you need to do is you need to make sure that your resistance, your tactical mitigation, your physical mitigation, and your critical defense and everything else is up to par. Okay? So for me, since I have my trait points where I need them, and since I have my stats where I need them, I can go ahead and waste a point into tactical damage. Okay, so I'm going to do that. The other one is self-motivation. All the way capped. Self-motivation for your fire, of course, as you know, is your bread and butter. That is your magnificent heal, gives you power, gives you everything. I don't really focus so much on fire reticle. I don't really think the 5 points is worth the 15% because really all I'm looking for originally is just to get the buff. I'm more concerned with my Rit of Fire to get the 3-stack buff for that. So I'm not really too concerned with that. All I really want is just one buff of that. And you'll see that later, if you ever watch me play, I only really stack one of those, and I stack the rest in Rit of Fire. So, the other one is, of course, Tales of Rage, which gives you fire damage, right? So we're going to put all that in here. I like to do a lot of AoE, so when it comes to When it comes to Essence of Flame, I like to have where I can actually attack 3 at once. That's just my personal preference. If you are choosing to do a raid build where you're wanting a single target build, okay, don't do this. Okay? Don't do this. This can be very effective with just a single target. Don't do that. Right now, I'm running a lot of instances by myself where I'm not doing that, and that's what I want. So, do that. Of course, Volcanic, and I like to take it up to tier 2 because I don't really throw it. I usually drop it to myself because when you're doing solo stuff, usually all the mobs are coming to you, so I just usually drop it exactly where I am. If you're in a raid situation, you need to have level 3 so that you can drop it wherever you want to. Okay, usually right at the boss or where the multiple mobs are and everything's that comes after that. Okay, the next one is physical mitigation. Always good to have extra physical mitigation. That really helps with the amount of essences that you have to put in physical mit. And that only costs 3 points, so it's really wise to have that. Self-motivation cooldown. A must. Additional targets. Target armor rating. Yes, a must. That basically drops the target armor rating whenever you're damaging them with fire, right? So that's a must. Let's see, mystifying flame on every skill, 30% chance of minus fire mitigation. You know, you think that that wouldn't be very helpful, but you never know when that's actually going to come in, and that really does help quite a bit. You'll be pulling off inductions left and right, and all of a sudden you'll hit in one induction and it goes from being like 1 second to, you know, just quick as hell. And so it really does help out with your DPS overall. So it's always really important to get that in there. Scathing Mockery, yes, it's a must, because even though it doesn't tick very often, if you're in a long raid situation and you hit multiple targets, especially if you use, what is it? Let's see if I can even freaking pull it up. Yes, I nailed it right off the back. The Andorian Dagger Infused Parchment. Scathing Mockery max targets is +5 to Scathing March target. So Scathing Mockery already gives you +5, so we're talking about doubling that. Okay, so if you're in a raid situation, you have multiple mobs there, then you pop that sucker, do your Scathing Mockery, and you're going to have double the amount of bad guys out there that are going to have this thing on them. And of course, we all know it's a very long dot. Okay. Okay, so that just goes on to the reduction of induction skills. This one helps with flame damage, Breath of Flame over time, which is a must because that will help with your dots. I love Combustion. That gets put on my AoE skill line. And I love Breath of Flame skill Pulse Count. That's a must. Okay. Now, before you go over to this line, there is one line over here that actually gives you, what is it? The critical defense line. Before you go to that one, you need to come over here. You need to, 1, hit 4 of these. That would give you a little bit increased will. You take your Mending Verse. This is a wonderful heal that you will need if you're doing solo content or if you want to help out that person that is tanking, or you're in a 3-man or whatever, and the healer needs just a little bit of help. That's always, and of course it's great for you. Okay. Mending Verse Pulse Count is a must. More pulses of Mending Verse is always good. Mending Verse Healing. Of course I'm not going to turn down 30%. You kidding me? That's awesome. Alright, so then I'm going to take this, and we're going to be good to go with it. Which that gives me one more point, and I can't remember where the heck I put that point. Where the heck did I put that point? Oh, I must have put it there. No, I can't put it there. Where did I put that point? I might have put it in Fire Reticle. So that's the current build that I built, that I run right there with only 72 points. Of course, if you had more points, you could get 2 into here, you could come over to this bar, and you could get all 7 here. That would help you with your essence builds, okay? Because you want to build your critical defense. The less essences that you have to put in for critical defense is more essences that you can put in for tactical mastery. Okay, which gives you more damage, or wherever you're feeling short in, whether it be resistance or tactical or physical mitigation. Okay, whatever it is. But with my current setup, what I have, that's really honestly the best I can do, and that will get me a very long while. Now, if you happen to run with friends like me that has power situations, they have power issues, okay, you can run Prelude of Power, which I actually have a buff on my bar, on my LI, that actually gives additional power restore. I really recommend that you do that. You instead of doing this or doing this, you take it and you put it into here, okay? Instead of doing the prophetic word or even doing this, you take it and put it there, because your warden or your guardian or whoever is going to be using it that needs more power, that loses a lot of power during a fight, they're really going to need that, because they get the additional power restore if you hit them with Prelude of Hope, okay, which is that one right there. So that's basically the simple build. So we're going to hit apply. Now I don't run that because for the most part, whenever I'm running really big battles, I run with Storm, and he has that build for Prelude. So if one of my guys out there needs a power restore, he can just hit them real quick, and they'll get their power back. I don't have to worry about that. But if for some reason that I ever ran that and he didn't, that's what I would do. Okay. Currently, right now, I am completely non-buffed. All I have is this. I have my past, present, and future, which is this guy right here, which gives me a little bit of fate and max morale and combat power regen. Okay, so this is what my current buff is. Alright, so what you want to have, pardon me, what you want to have for finesse. Okay, finesse is extremely powerful because, and is very important, because finesse allows you to actually hit a target. More importantly, a 105 target. It doesn't matter all the damn DPS that you can do in the world. If your target is not being hit by whatever dot that you're trying to lay on them, you're not doing anything. So, number one, your finesse has to be up. You have to be able to hit a target and keep that dot on them, okay? And so you need to at least be at the server cap for finesse, and that is 12,800. That should be your mark, your goal for that. Now you'll see that I am at 15,591, which is way too high, okay? Of course, you can be at any number you want, but they really recommend around 25%. That's usually good enough to go. You don't want to really put too much in there. Alright, next is critical rating. You need to be at 17,700. Okay, you'll see that I'm at 1897. That's because the cap is at 25%. Okay, and 17,700 will get you that cap. So just remember that. Next, you need to have at least 2,100 of morale. That's usually good because being a light armor, you're usually a little bit squishy. So you need to be able to take at least enough damage to be able to recover from. Of course, if you're in a raid and you get hit with a 20k hit, you're most probably going to freaking go down. But if you got enough buff from your captain, your guardian, and your warden, you should be able to take that damage. You should be able to take that just with the buffs that you get. Okay? So that's a good morale area to be in, around 21k. Okay? Damage mitigation. Okay? You need to be, your goal, once you're fully buffed, needs to be around 20,200. Now, why I say 20,200, now technically for light armor, really it only needs to be around 14k. That's if you're running around, you're doing T1 stuff, and you're doing it by yourself. But if you're going to run T2 stuff, okay, it needs to be 20,200. That's a good area to be in, because there is a difference between server caps for T1 105 and T2 105. Okay, and once again, once I put that in the description, you will be able to go to the link Wikipedia for LOTRO and see that. All right, for damage, for critical defense, you need to be somewhere between 6 to 8. You will see I'm currently at well over what I need to be at. That's because of buffs I have. I need to redo that. And as I get my further gear, like you will see that I'm currently working on my 222 gear. I only have, I think, the boots, and I have the gloves here. So I have a complete, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 4 technically. And of course, I would always like the pocket item that drops off of a what is that instance? I have my cheat sheet here that I use for everything. Blood of the Black Serpent. No, Silent Street. Evidently, you can run Silent Street at T2 on the very first boss, and if you beat him, that pocket item for gold has a chance of dropping, which is awesome. Okay, where did we leave off? That was critical defense. Now, this isn't a must, but I like it, and that's evade. You need to try to get your evade, because obviously block and parry is completely crap to us, but you need to get your evade at least up to 7k. Okay, that will help you with server cap of 13k. So anything you can evade, chances are you will evade. Okay, incoming healing is not necessarily a must, but if you can happen to put it in there, it would be good to try to focus on 3k. You can see that I have done none of that. And then resistance rating. This isn't necessarily always put into the ones that you see online, but I find that if you can get your resistance rating up high enough, it will help you to do solo content, or at least to evade certain skills or debuffs that the raids or the instances are doing on you, or even possibly certain hits and stuff like that. So for me personally, I like resistance rating, and your goal for that is really high, but it's 38,500. And if I buff myself, you will see I get very close to that, which is a total of 50%. That is the cap on that. But like I said, when you go into the Wikipedia for server stats, you will see all this on there that you need to do. What your target goal should be. And that, of course, comes after you have all your allies done. You have all of your 222 gear done, with all of your either supreme essences or regular essences, whatever the hell you can get. That's what it needs to be. You'll see I have all my jewelry at 222, right? But not all my essences are done. So every single time I get an essence, I'm going to have to you'll always have to recalibrate this until you get to the point where everything is perfect. Once you've met all these requirements for your critical defense, your resistance, your evade, your physical and tactical mitigation, and so on and so forth, once you get all that done, then you can worry about tactical mastery. Whether or not you put it into will, or you put it into tactical mastery itself. That's up to you. I have found with testing and rain tests that if you can get a hold of a supreme will that gives you will and tactical mastery, that is so much better than just doing a supreme or a level 7 of tactical mastery. Okay? Because will is it. Because will give you tactical mastery, physical mastery, tactical mitigation, and resistance rating. So the more will that you can stack to get that will require less of the resistance that you have to put there. Okay? As a matter of fact, that's the reason why my resistance has kind of gone a little high, is because I've actually stacked quite a bit to will. So that was pretty long-winded. Currently at max cap, what I have, I am pretty much over a lot of my stats that I have. It doesn't really bother me too much because I know that it's still a work in progress. I'm still trying to get my allies completely capped. They're not the best of allies. You know, I could have so much better, but for what it is, I'm pretty happy for it. You know, because I'm going to be working on other characters. Okay, sure, I could be these guys out there that are trying to get the allies with the most perfect skill points on there and just work and work and work and work and work to try to do that. That's fine. I don't really think that's necessary for me, but maybe one day if I have the chance to do differently, maybe I will. I don't know. But guys, that's pretty much what I have to say on the subject. That pretty much covers everything. After that, it really just involves how you you pull off your skills and what rotations you use and stuff like that. But we can do that in another video. And speaking of that, if you have any videos out there, whether it be for well, it must probably have to be around Runekeeper, but honestly, if you go into the server stats and you're trying to figure out whatever it is, doesn't matter if you're a Runekeeper or a captain or a champion or a warden or anything like that, if you go to the stat page, okay, and you start looking at that and you find out what your server stats are at, that will give you a really good indication of what you need to do, or at least a good starting point of what you need to do to be able to survive in instances. Okay, that's about the best point of view or the advice I can give you. Okay, so for the future, if you guys have any other questions about other skills, tactics, or anything else, please put it in the comment section. I will try to make any videos that you guys think that are really good ones to make. And I wish everyone to have a fantastic day. So guys, thanks for watching. Everyone have a fantastic day. Peace out.
Right there. What the? Oh, you're dead. No, hero, don't die. I'm sorry. Sorry. Too much. Don't be shooting people, dude. Don't be shooting people. Oh, you. Oh, there he is. Come here, you little bastard. Come here. Come here. Where you going, dude?